Phones on silent.
The disclaimers are
You ever heard that, man?
Ja, daar correct.
Ik heb wel zeggen, hoe is man? Somebody's phone is buzzing. I'll put the phone to the side. It's yours. It's your phone.
Okay.
Not yours.
No, I think it's my one. Dit is my one, ja.
ook nu dan.
Good evenings, Cape Flats Stories, Kaapse Vlaktes en mense, hoop het gaat goed saam met julle. Welcome to another episode of Cape Flats Stories Live. But before we start, I've got a special guest here. I think you're gonna like him, but we're gonna see. We're gonna give him so a few minutes just to get himself ready. I want to talk about the week that was. What has happened in the last couple of days. The Delft community is in shock after the butchered body of a 12-year-old young man was found on a field, burned. I mean, man, really. So they're still looking for the perpetrators. If you guys have any information, please contact the police. And then also in Delft as well, a 21-year-old father was stabbed to death. That is in Delft as well. And from what I read in the article, he actually was running home, which was close by to the party where they were at. And he died in his house 10 minutes later. And that is sad, you know. But three men were actually caught, and they will appear in court this coming week. And also, I don't know if you guys followed the story of the arms dealer in Durban that sold guns to the gangsters on the Cape Flats. This gentleman has been caught by the Hawks 3 years ago, and he will also be appealing in court very soon. And I do hope that the system goes tough on these guys, because they're selling guns to our children and we are killing one another because of greedy men like himself. So please do keep an eye on that article. And then on a lighter note, Heideveld father Brendan Jenneke rescues 2 people at Blouberg's beach. So well done, and we want to commend you, Brendan, for putting your life in danger to save 2 people. And also, you know, making the Cape Flats proud. There is good people on the Cape Flats, so we want to commend you for doing that. And then an article I also read regarding the teachers. Cape Town Teachers Union and the Western Cape Department of Education have joined forces to convert contract teachers' appointments to permanent staff if they are qualified. So that is also something good, something that we can look forward. So if you're a qualified teacher, you have the qualifications and you are on contract, there's a possibility that you can actually become permanent, which is good because we have an issue next year, and I hope this is going to be the solution there, where 2,400 teachers will be, and more will be cut, will lose their jobs, you know. So I do hope that you guys are qualified, and then this can be the solution there. And then lastly, Cape Townians joined thousands of protesters in major cities around the world on Saturday, demanding to end bloodshed in Gaza and the wider Middle East ahead of the first anniversary of the Hamas attack on Israel on Monday. So to everybody that was there and went to go and support, we want to salute you. We are against marginalization of people, killing of people, of innocent children, and we salute you. And without any further ado, I have a young man with the name of Jonathan in the studio. Jonathan is very well known to many of you guys in the spinning fraternity and also the car fraternity. Hy het 'n vinnige skyline. Ons gaan nou oor hy skyline praat nou. Jonathan, welcome to Cape Flats Stories.
Welcome, Stan, to you and the viewers.
Awesome, awesome. You guys had an event over the weekend, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give the viewers a bit of a, so shall I say, a voorsmaak of what happened over the weekend, and then we're going to talk about the event more. Just check out the clip I personally made for you guys. Welcome back to Cape Flats Stories. I hope you guys enjoyed the clip. Julle sal sien, daar was dicing geweest, daar was spinning geweest, daar was karre wat mooi gelyk het. And we're going to talk more about the spinning type because I want to be honest, Cape Town brought the gees. There was a lot of people that came to that show and it's mostly from Cape Town. And I think we can say that Cape Town is the onze baas. Sonny, wat sê jy?
Definitely. I mean, don't need to go far. Don't need to go far. Yeah, it was a good show. Took a lot from myself and my team, but yeah, it was a good show.
And this is your first big event. You had other events, but was this your first big event that you and the team organized in Cape Town?
Big in terms of numbers, but not so challenging because doing an event at Killarney, it's not really so difficult.
Okay.
Than doing an event outside of Killarney, especially in Western Cape.
Yeah.
So in 2018 I did an event by Athlone Stadium. That thing, it was sleepless nights. But yeah. But yeah, this is the first big one, spinning a competition, yeah.
Awesome. And it was well supported from the communities and the broader communities.
That's correct.
Okay. En Johnny, where did this start for you? Ek weet julle is 'n klomp kinders en dis een ding wat ek weet, almal van julle is electricians in julle familie. But where did this start for you, spinning?
Yeah, so at the age of 12 years old, my father was murdered. And it forced us to leave school and go help my mother. So ons kom uit die ghettos soos hulle dit noem. So baie swaar groot geraak na my pa vermoor was. And I was the one that used to go stay by my grandfather because hy cancer het, so hy kan nie aandag geslaap het hier. When ek vir hom sy torch vas of aan sy as hy besig is om sy kompi te werk en bla bla bla. And then I was always hands-on, and that brought me out of my situation. You know, I think at the age of 14, I bought my first car.
Wow.
I worked at a place called SA Forklift in Elsis. And that is how I grew passionate about cars, you know. So going through that ordeal at a young age, it's something that kept me together throughout my journey.
And I see that your family is very much involved in the sport. So it's not now only your sport anymore, but you started a legacy that has now gone to your son. I believe it's your son.
Yeah.
He's also spinning now.
That's correct, yeah.
En die broer se kinders is ook saam.
Yeah.
And how do you build on this? Because this is something that you're going to leave behind. This is something that is life-changing. If you look back, how has this changed your life?
So, with cars, I do not really have a matric, but I was always, like I say, very passionate working with vehicles and fixing stuff. And if you look at the situation in our colored communities, you will always get that people that grow up without a father or mother in the house, and then for them, you know, life is over for them. So I'm a very determined person, and a very I like to drive myself, you know. So when I think it was about 6 years ago, when my son was doing his last grades, I think it's grade 10 or grade 12, and I told him, listen, I'm going to surprise you. When you are done with your grade, I'm going to build us a car together.
Wow.
And you like spinning, or his mother always used to tell me, jou pa destijds op pavilion gaan rijden, bla bla bla. Dan keek hij naar mij toe amper soos, as is pavilion? And die jong die goed doen, you know. And then I said to him, I'm going to build us a car, and then that will now be our bonding thing. And then I built the car, and I went up to a abandoned location in my community, which is called the Hills today.
Okay.
And then when I started there, it was myself and my family at the first week. The second week, then we've picked up, we discovered there's probably about 100 children standing around here. From 12 o'clock Saturday afternoon till about 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Week 1. Week 2, even more. Week 3, my wife said, listen, she's going to buy a few bags of knickknacks and things, because the children is here. Where's the parents?
Yeah.
And within 6 months, that place become the most popular place in Western Cape.
Wow.
We probably around estimated 2,000 to 3,000 people illegally coming together and just have fun. You know?
Yes. But that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah. And then there was an article in our local newspaper, which is the Plainsman. Our local government is looking for the people that's now doing this illegal activities on the premises.
Yeah.
And then ek is 'n baie hardkoppige persoon, you know, because I've put myself in this situation of these youngsters being there every Saturday or Sunday, and also coming to my house after the event to come stand around and watching myself and my son. I said to myself, you know, this used to be me when I used to grow up, you know. And if it wasn't for my grandfather that kept us in line, I would have been standing here, you know. So there's no way I can stop now, because from a seed, it grew to a plant. And you can see how because majority of them, either their fathers is in jail or they're dead or whatever. We know the challenges within our community. And when our local government called us in, I will never forget, myself, my wife, Shahim Bell, and another few friends, we went to Town Centre, you know, Town Centre in Mrs. And then it's the first time I've stepped into a meeting where it's only city officials. So we know the city officials, we know the law. They said, listen, do you know that what you are doing on our facility, ons gaat vir jou toesluit. Want sy gaan mens vir my bang praat, maar ek kan mens anders voor die bushman, you know.
It is when the Cape Flits.
Yeah, it's when the Cape Flits. And then I said, listen, there's either one or two things. You're going to help us make this thing legal, or I'm just going to carry on.
Mm.
And because I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
This children is becoming so used to us being there Saturdays, and I can see they are excited
Yeah.
to come to the next meeting. So there's no way we can stop now because where is the children going?
That's right.
And then that was 2016.
Mm.
2017, 2018, I said to myself, to Shaim Bell, that I think we need to do our first event
Mm.
to show the government that we can comply and we
Yes.
want to comply, you know. Hence, we did an event at Athlone Stadium, the first permitted legal event, which almost cost me everything that I owned. But I was so determined to do this, to show them, listen, this thing, it's a model that can work in our community. You will get in the community. There's children passionate about soccer, netball, rugby, cricket. But if you start a vehicle up in any community, you'll definitely get the
Yes.
baby turning his neck, you know. And then we did our first event 2018. It was a success. I told my committee, listen, it was a success, the debriefing meeting, everybody, they know what spinning is now. I think it's important that we need to take this model into my community and do another permitted event to show them.
Yeah.
But I did the events solely because I wanted to show our government that we will comply, you know. We didn't do the events to make money because both events I'm very bad in making financial decisions, extremely bad. So both of the events we ran into a negative, but or minus, but it wasn't about the money, you know. After the second event, I was forced to do the third event at the Hills where we wanted to do it. But now I'm sitting with challenges where at that time I think the permit application with all the perks, your disaster and your pollution and security, costed us probably 140,000, and I'm referring to 2018. No, I'm lying. 2018's event at City at Athlone costed over 200,000 rand.
And that coming out of your own pockets.
So how it works is that you can apply for, they call it SPEFCO funding.
Okay.
Then all the city services will be waived. But you still have the cost of your toilets, your security, your fencing.
Yeah.
So that is another 140,000 out of your pocket, you know. So all the events, we never broke even once. It was just a matter of me that want to show them this thing can work within our community.
Yeah.
And why do we want it to work? Because it's speaking to the youngsters, and that was our main thing.
Yeah.
So when we did the two events in Mitchell's Plain, then we were sitting with a challenge where the same children that could come to the facility for free now have to pay a 5 rand.
Right.
So that didn't sit well with me at all.
Yeah.
And then the MECO member, Zaid Badruddin, he was very proactive at that time. He said, listen, I told him, we can't afford it. It's no way we can afford it because the space, it's unused. It's vandalized. You're setting us up for failure. We do not want to, even if I must pay it myself, I'd rather do that than taking a 5 rand from someone that can't afford it. Where's the recreation within our community? We don't want to do events.
Yes.
And then they came up with a formula where it's called practice sessions. So I can use the facility. They call it a free usage application. Can be filled in, but I need to make sure that there's always less than 200 people at the facility.
Okay.
So if I have 4 or 5 cars there teaching the youngsters, it's okay. But it was very difficult to keep people out of the premises because there's no gates.
Yes.
That place is open like tomorrow. So it was very challenging. And then obviously we had the space on top where the movie Spinners was shot. And there was a lot of challenges in terms of noise and smoke and all this. And then they asked us to do, they call it a public participation. I think it was 2019. We won the first public participation, but I just felt that there's something here that just doesn't make sense to me because there's no way that you can put profit over lives. If you see that this thing is keeping a youngster out of the street and you still want money out of this thing, you know. to a point where I even told him, listen, put your own people here. Where's the ward councillor? Put them here. I don't want money. I just want to make sure that I can keep the children busy from 12 till 5. And they've got something to do. That was the only thing I wanted to do. And then I had so much challenges with the noise and the smoke and this and that. And I don't know if you can remember still. We've structured that place so well with barriers and fencing and whatever. And that came out of my pocket. There was no contribution, none whatsoever from the city of Cape Town. We didn't want anything from them. We just said, give us the land, we'll develop it. And then, that was 2018. 2019, a war broke out there between two entities. I think 22 youngsters has been shot dead.
I read about it, yes.
And then, not local government or national government could stop that war. And our local government, SAPS, the interior SAPS came to us and said, listen, we believe that you went to the entities and made peace. You cannot do that. You know, it's dangerous and blah, blah, blah. If you look at entities within your community, it's people that you know, man. It's people that you can relate to their situations. So what we did is, when we started the initiative, we said, listen, let us get something for these people that lead organizations and support our initiative by doing something positive. I promise you, Stan, that when we started, we used to target close to between 3,000 and 5,000 people, depending. The cars used to come from all areas of Western Cape, Ocean View, Kraaifontein. That time, there was no Ocean View, if you're familiar with Ocean View. There was, Kraaifontein was there was no Guguletu, there was no Kailitsa. But there was not a wheel cap stolen off. Without security, without the law enforcement. So who got that place during that time? We had 4,000 or 5,000 people. It's that particular people that used to keep the community hostage that is now using their, their enforcement in a positive way, and that model worked. And then 2000 and COVID kicked in, and then all the activities was shut down after COVID. But I just felt that there's going to be a time where someone is going to come and want to take this thing, run with this thing, because they can now see that this thing is going somewhere, you know. Back in the days, pavilion time, it used to be raucous. No one really was interested, because everybody now pavilion used to be. But now it's becoming more eye-catching, and you can make money out of it, but I will never trade a soul for money. You know?
And Jonathan, just to come back to you, you mentioned about the hills, you mentioned about the movie that was shot there. I just want to just stop there, but that idea, so I believe a guy from overseas came and he took that idea and he made the movies. That is our stories. The Hills is a place that you guys, that I think the name come from when you guys started spinning there. So the Hills is very much your brand. How did we allow this? And also, in the past, I saw there was a picture of a guy, let's be honest, Dan Plato standing there. He obviously made also a lot of promises. And I want to keep politicians accountable. Politicians are, sorry to say, a lot of them are bullshitters. And we know that. And because of them, children died, people died, because they wanted to take the sport away. Only now, I can see now. Now they want to make, and I'm very honest, now they're making a bit of an effort because catering is involved here. How is that going?
So, and you're right by saying, because for 8 years, we've worked ourselves to the bone, to a point where they was just very lackadaisy, you know. One of the youngsters that we used to used to be employed by us, that used to be on the other side of the fence, when our permits and stuff was revoked or kept back, he went back into his old habits. And then on the corner of where we do our activities, he was actually shot at 21 years old. But that wasn't even good enough. So the concept the thing that really made me speak and say, listen, this can't continue.
Yeah.
Because do not use different strokes at different folks, man. Number one, if you're saying that we cannot do spinning at that particular facility, all good and well. Do not come and tell me that you're using the same venue, that you're rejecting us that does recreation and granting it to a company that's making millions out of the story that was started at that same venue. Because you're not playing netball.
Yes, yes.
You're not playing cricket.
Yes.
What are they doing? What is the movie spinners?
Yeah.
It's spinning
Yes.
at the hills. So make it make sense. You are telling us that you cannot spin here anymore. Our permit or our application, I think the time was from 12 till about 5 or 6. When the people made the movie Showmax, it was from 6 the morning till 6 the evening for 7 days a week. So you are telling me that these complaints, but where did the complaints go when the people
That's
use
right.
the same, you know?
Yes.
Don't
yes.
be use different. Don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
You know.
And that is the thing, is that you guys have been struggling for a while. I mean, like I said, one pitch is also not enough.
100%.
This is quite a big sport. Spinning is big. I mean, it comes from not only yesterday or 8 years ago, it comes from pavilion days. Levendale se manne het gepop daar, so Menenberg se manne, almal het gepop daar, so Sierra, Skylines, whatever. Yes, yes. And the thing is this, it kept the guys busy. It was something to look forward to. But if you take it now and you put a business concept to it, you can actually create jobs.
100%.
I mean, look at Pavilion. There where we used to camp, they threw that camping site down. I still am with that. Why don't we use that and build a little pitch there? Because it will then also give back to our people, because Pavilion is sort of a tourist attraction. But just think about it. If we have that, if we have a pitch there, and also Ocean, we also need a pitch. I don't want to say where the people are spinning, because then I'm gonna make trouble. But they need a pitch there as well, and there's a lot of land as well. What do you think? What should be happening here?
So speaking about that particular place, the old Lovers Lane.
Yes,
I
yes.
think 6 years ago, I drove down that entire Baidenpaal to identify spaces. And I think, what is the official's name now? But nevertheless, they used to harass me because it's blue flag and you can't do anything here, blah, 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 all this. We gave in proposals, we gave in, we literally did everything that they want us to take this thing out of the community into a safe location away from the houses. But it was just roadblocks after roadblocks after roadblocks. So in terms of other venues, we have been tasked, I think, it could be 3 or 4 years ago, to identify spaces within Western Cape. Because I always said, once the hills was up and running, there wasn't these other pop-up places that came after the hills. But you will get it. Because if there's no space, do not think that people is going to stop. You know, the same applies to racing. I told the officials the last time, without a proper drag strip for topping, Killarney, they work well with us now. We do not have a problem, but they can't cater for vehicles that I build. I build topping cars.
Yes.
I'm not irresponsible anymore to go drive on the streets because it's people that's putting other people's life.
Yes.
But what about the other people that's still young? They're going to take it to the streets.
Exactly.
You know? Without proper measures in place, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yes.
When the hills was shut down, there's places like Tafelsig that pop up after that. There's places like Ocean View that popped out after that. Because there's an appetite for the sport within the communities, you know. So 3 years ago, we've been tasked to identify spaces. And it's 3 years prior, you know. In fact, I need to be very honest. And I'm actually, let's call a spade a spade. Killarney, now in the last few months, they've opened up the doors. We are working with him. We do not have a problem. We do not want to dictate or take over, but we would like to work with him, you know. Hence, I mean, the results speak for themselves. You saw Saturday.
Yes, yes.
As long as there's a free opportunity for us, because I'm a petrol lead. but there's also the coons that needs support or exposure. There's also our brigades. There's also our colored artists, you know. So myself and my committee took it a little bit and said, listen, we're doing a competition. Let's invite all our coaches, you know. And I've went through some of the posts this afternoon, and some of the people even say this need to be an annual event in Killarney, you know, because it was successful. So what I'm saying is, we do want to make use of Killarney going forward. There's no doubt. However, we always had the vision, or that once we have spaces within these communities that we can form, you know, your small leagues, then we can compete at Killarney on that level. Then we're okay. But we need something that can speak to our community that cannot afford to get in, you know. From myself or my organization, Spin, the buses and stuff, or the people that attended that event, we ran all the costs because we didn't want our people still, because it's not always that they have the funds to experience something like that. Myself and my committee said, listen, we didn't do it for the money. We had an agreement with Killarney. Killarney said, it's fine. This is your event. You make the rules. And we said, all we want is to give, because there's a lot of the children that was there that was never at Killarney. You know? So it's an opportunity for them. But also one of the main reasons why I took the initiative, and I said to myself, I'm not here to work against Killarney. It's only because our fight that I fought for 8 years, it's finally coming to an end, you know. I also need to be honest by saying that the city of Cape Town, it's starting to play the part, you know. We know exactly why. I think today we've submitted our overview layout for the location at the hills. We're not going to do events, your full-on events, but we said it from the beginning. We just want a piece of space that is unused. We will develop it with our own resources so that we can get developments, because it's not just about spinning. That car that you are building or driving can be stripped into 1,000 pieces and put together just for the fun, just to keep our children busy. You know, that is how I started.
Johnny, the other thing that I just want to talk also about is that spinning is also an event for Sunday afternoon. People like to go out to a field in the neighborhood to go out spinning. I mean, ek het 'n niffie, and I'll be honest with you, I hope he's not watching. Hy kan nie license skryf nie, but he's good with his hands. Hy kan engines bou. Hy can spin. Hy's kwai. And for him, he doesn't know, like, really there is like a place like what you like a Killarney. He's still very much old school, where he goes spin in the pits in Ottery, you know. And I think also this is what the city needs to look at. I think Killarney is closed on a Sunday. Mostly. And so we can't really spin at Killarney on a Sunday. So that is where maybe, you know what, if you want us to be there on a Saturday, we will be there on a Saturday, but give us at least a Sunday, our own venue, and also during the week, because, like you said, I look at what's his name at Eddie Rasta. As 'n man se kar staat, waar hy bly, almal kom, almal die kinders is daar, so almal is happy and they follow him and they watch him. And I think that also gave Eddie Rasta and many others like Eddie Rasta yourself, it gives you guys authority to speak to the youngsters, to sort of get into their heads, because you become a role model for them. I mean, when we grew up, cars was something big. I mean, I like Skylines, I like the Ford Sierras, all those cars, the Datsuns and those cars. And that was sort of our story, our dream. And many years later, it's almost like that we want to curb these things from happening to our children on the Cape Flats. I mean, I am from Parkwood, and guys would spin in Parkwood. But what would you say? What is the way forward? Because this is quite a big event, and are you guys having another spin event in the next couple of months, similar to what you had on Saturday?
It's there's talks about it. Like I say, my main focus now for Western Cape is to get the agreement for the hills. That is, I need to make sure that my people reap the benefit of the 8 years journey. You know. that is number one. So they call it the debriefing meeting. Where Kilani will call us in to discuss the past weekend's event, and then we'll see exactly if it's going to be something that we are going to do again. If it does make sense to them and to us, we would like to do another event, but I need to make sure that the thing that we started in Mitchell's Plain, that thing becomes a reality for our people.
And I think that is the main concern there, is to make sure that you guys continue with the hills. Do you think that also, maybe like I know that Kilani has it, but also like a spinning school is something that will benefit our community children?
Definitely.
I mean, you have the cost, some of our kids don't have, but if you take a young Royston or a young Roy and you teach him how to spin, that could keep him potentially from becoming gangster.
100%. It's the result is there. I mean, there is multiple youngsters within the communities that started to fall in love with it, and their whole mindset has been changed. So, like I say, you get children that are interested in soccer, netball, rugby, but there's also an appetite for spinning. The results is there to show it, you know. So you cannot look past. So what I'm saying is, it costs the city of Cape Town, for example, 3 or 4 law enforcement vehicles at the city, at a permitted event.
Yeah.
Cost you roughly about, I think, 2018, it costed me at my event, say 30,000-40,000 rand, just to stand there.
Yeah.
So, if there's space, if you're now saying that this is our culture on a Sunday, that is what we want, you know? So, relax, having our spinning, watching over our children. Then, instead of deploying 6 or 10 law enforcement cars chasing the people around, bring that service to something that you now can see. You've got an isolated space. When I used to do illegal events at the hills, and there was one police vehicle just patrolling, there's no cars that will leave or come to that facility reckless or leave reckless. Only one. But what I'm saying, if we have 3 or 4 or 5 just to isolate the perimeter and make sure that there's 5 or 6 hours, keep it simple. There's toilets, you know, do not, if you really look at, and this is the thing that really frustrates me, if you look at, and they're always going to try and paint the picture about, it's a different criteria, don't come with. I don't know if you've been to a film set. You've been to a film set.
Yes.
If you look at when they did spinners at the hills, they had the toilet there, you know, the basic stuff, but they did spinning. So why, if it comes to us doing that, you can't keep the application or the requirements very simple to make it affordable? You know, show us that you would like to assist in making this thing possible, because it speaks to the underprivileged, instead of giving you a permit application that if I had to do this event the weekend outside of Killarney, it would have probably costed us over 2 million rand with all the services based on the magnitude. So it just doesn't make sense, you know. You can't trade, I will say it again, lives for profit. It just doesn't make sense.
And also, you know what, like we are in 2024 like already, and spinning comes from the late 70s, I want to say, the early 80s, where we would spin, where the guys would spin on pavilion. There was maybe 1 or 2 incidents, you know, jy weet die ouens het miskien nou ander man se vrou opgevat of so, was vir hulle opraat. But it was something that everybody looked forward to.
100%.
And what I want to say also, it sort of had unity. Because if you look at the guys from Lavendale would come, Menenberg would come, Manova Park would come, Park would, all moet ons playing, and we would come as one. And jy is nou wel part van hy gang en part van hy gang, but on that night, everybody's one. Ons gaan nou van mekaar betel. And I think that is what we also need to bring back, because this is exactly what we love. We are colored people living on the Cape Flats, but yet every community has a different gang, and we are labeled, we will live. But I think also through the sport, you can bring unity. I mean, look at Saturday. You had guys from all over, and they enjoy themselves, you know. I would just, we don't talk a lot about the sport, but the event, the guys that participated, some of them were good, eh?
Extremely good.
They were good. Tell us about the 3 top guys, you know, the guys that actually won, and what do you think?
You know, in fact, all 4 of them, not just 3, all 4 of them, I won't say, okay, it's the second place winner, the crowd favorite. Number 1, he could spin, but he was part of our development program.
Okay.
But all of them came from the hills.
They all came from the hills.
They started there. Or number 2, Yusuf.
Yes.
I will remember when his father brought him 5 years ago to the hills. He couldn't drive. They stayed in the farm. And then his father had to drive the car over the hill there, because his mother wasn't there, and just put him behind the wheel so that he can make one circle. And today he's a contender. Yes. I mean, he's the second. He took second place. We had a local guy that invested his time, Sean February, with his father, to set up the courses, and that was his way of giving back.
Wow!
Just to teach the youngsters. And all of them were part of our development program. All of them.
And the nice thing is, like you said, Yusuf, because ek hou van 'n voortseer, moet van die mens. But looking at a guy, and I followed him. He's very much passionate about the sport. I mean, look at where he started. His father had to sneak him over. And I mean, stories like this from the Cape Flats that actually, potentially, like I always say, it can change somebody's life.
100%.
You know?
100%.
But now, how do you get, and this is the fight that I know that you guys are sitting with, how do you get local government to see the urgency of making this a sport for everyone? And the second point is, there's a young man that now is currently, his name is Sam Joburg, yes. He became the first Red Bull spinning athlete. That is big. Sponsorship from Red Bull is big. Getting our youngsters there, what is the next step?
Yeah, so the last leg of Red Bull Sire Motor was held here in Cape Town. And Boxy, which was the number 1, he won Red Bull Sire Motor now 2024. So even Yusuf, I think Yusuf came very far in that competition. A few months ago it was by Century City. So there's a saying that say you can't buy skill, man. Those youngsters, it's just, they might not have your $1 million or your $1 million vehicles, but they are so talented, you know. They can compete with the best in the country. And they will come out there on top. Soos hulle altyd gesê het, die kinders wat die klub skop is goeie sokker speler. You know that type of stuff. So it's about mindset and determination. Like I say, Yusuf was, my son had the most powerful vehicle. I'm talking about 6-7 years old in the development. And then he decided now he's going to focus on his school and make his matric finish and blah, blah, blah. And there were about 6 or 7 of them that was part of the youth development program when we started. And to look at him today, taking podiums, it's an accomplishment, you know. The thing that really stood out by me Saturday was, everybody know Eddie Rasta. And he came to me just after the ceremony, and he literally stood with tears in his eyes, and you know what? I never thought that this would happen, because Eddie Rasta is the one that represented the Western Cape in South Africa for years. He was always on the road, making sure the flag is being upheld for Western Cape because we didn't have a facility.
Yes.
But if you look at the current demographic, Western Cape, we have to close the application because there's too much spinners.
Yes.
We could only accommodate 67 spinners, but it was probably about 10 that we couldn't accommodate because of the timing.
Yes.
And if you look at right around South Africa, I've now did KZN, we did Joburg, 2 in Joburg, we did PE, we did Kuruman, and Western Cape. But they do not have the amount of spinners, here by us, and they've got facilities.
Yes.
Here by us, we do not have facilities, but we've got 10 times more spinners. It's mind-blowing.
Yes, yes.
So I will say that local government had to step up the game long time ago. Long time ago. I also need to be very honest in saying that they are coming to the party for their own reasons. And I need to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
In terms of the Belleville South story, I told him 5 years ago, the time this thing is going to materialize, then I'm buried already.
Yes, yes.
Do not give me long-term solutions, and we're losing our children day by day.
Yes, yes.
Give us a short-term solution leading up to a long-term goal. Nie vir ons kom dom maak nie, man. Asseblief, vir ons die tyd verby.
En die storie wat, het is waar wat jy sê, as jy kan nie so lang wag nie. You can't wait a day or 2 days. Things need to happen now, or months. But this is what I notice you guys travel a lot. En baie van ons kinders gaan nie verder as met soos bly nie, gaan nie verder as Pagoed nie. This sport will also allow our kids to travel to see the rest of South Africa. And by traveling, I mean, you meet people, you build a network, you learn about the different cultures. So it's all these type of things that we need in our community. Is there something that you would encourage young people? Because I mean, I was in a different type of a show, and I traveled a lot, and I met a lot of people. I still have people, know people all over the country and even over the world. But through a sport like this, I mean, we're going international now. Is there anybody that you can maybe? I think the girl's name is Stacy.
Yeah.
She went overseas to go and compete in a competition there, right? So this is really the type of sport that can open so many doors for our children.
Definitely. So I think our minister, he was unapologetic when he said he's gonna legalize the sport because spinning is South African culture. There is other states that they call it burnouts or they call it, there's different names. But the true spinning culture, it's born and bred in South Africa, So when he tasked the organization, or myself in the organization, to say, listen, for years, for 30, 35 years, you've been battling to make this thing an official sport. Hence you are paying a lot of money for permits, etc., because there's no support from government. This is what you need to do. We need to do 9 events, 9 provinces, 27 drivers. I'm taking them abroad to showcase the world what spinning is. This is our culture. And he was unapologetic, and I mean, we did now. This is the 6th one. He is working on this thing around the clock. He bought into our dream because if he could have can't support any other sport. He saw the vision. I think I invited him once to the Hills. And I was also skeptical because it's a politician. And, you know, yeah. And I think about 8 hours in his position when he was announced minister, he called myself in the committee to say, "Look, you've put me here. This is what I'm telling you need to do to make this thing a sport." So the Visio Once Baas concept, it's something that came from him.
Okay.
I don't know where he got the name. He just said, call this thing Visio Once Baas, do this and do that and blah, blah, blah. And it's definitely an opportunity for the young upcoming spinners to travel the world. I think the weekend there was an event where Elias from Red Bull came down to Joburg. And I can remember at a Red Bull event, Samson actually took him, Elias, which is a well-known drifter, for a run in his car, in Samson's car. And he couldn't believe it.
Wow.
He couldn't. He said, it's impossible. How? Where? There's no e-brake. His car is set up. It's a half a million rand car. It's supposed to do.
Yes.
But now this thing has been put together with cable ties and see what. And he was stoked. So there's definitely opportunities that can arise abroad for the world to see our sport and for our youngsters to experience, other parts of the world.
Yes. As we almost come to a close, I just want to touch on a few things. The car. It's a Skyline, right?
Ja.
Wat die engine is in 'n Skyline.
Ek het dit
Kyk die man eerste, my ding eerste.
Ek wou net eers ek het 1 2
Okay, het 'n paar Skylines.
Ek dink ek het 6, ja. So, jy moet sê wat die een dag het ek wil nie verkeerde kombasie nie.
Die blauwe wat daar gewees het.
Blou. Where is it by?
At the show that they did to Sandro.
Oh, that one. That car last weekend Sunday, I told my son, I'm a person, I like to try different stuff, man. You will probably know the Skyline engine, the L28.
Yes,
it's a bio engine.
Yes.
So, in Western Cape, I was the first one with the 350Z engine. They call it the VQ35. I was the first one with the VK45. 12 years ago, I was the first one with one of the few ones with the super engine. So I like different platforms. But for the last 6 years, the engines has becoming so expensive, and I cannot promote something that is going to be costly upon the youngsters, man.
Yes.
So, but last year, September, I said to my son and my wife, I'm going to build us something affordable, where everybody can get their hands on. It's an L28. And then my wife didn't agree with it first because she said, "Hy's 'n ou ding, hy ding het sy gery op pavilion." En ek sê vir myself, julle doubt me, but my baby son is 6, he was 6 years old that time. And we used to call the nickname for the L28 as a knoopkop, because he's got a hump in front.
Yeah.
And then I told him, my baby, they are rejecting us, we're going to build a knoopkop. Then he said, yeah, Daddy, we build a knoopkop. And then myself and my son, we went online. We discovered that in Australia, all the support parts for that engine is available. And I told him, just order me some small stuff, gasket and I said, earpiece. And I assembled that car. My very good friend of mine, Navabi, has been dealing with the Nissans for years. And he actually assembled that engine, and that is my current best car because of what it is. It's the oldest car I own, but the fastest one and the most fun car to own. The one that you're referring to Saturday, it's a car that I bought for my son. It's got the 350Z engine in, VQ25.
Wow.
So last weekend Sunday there was a RB engine in, and then Monday we decided, let's put out the engine in because no one here in the spinning community in South Africa has got the VQ25 turbocharged. So we literally started the Monday with that car. We tuned the car the Friday at 3:30. They brought the car from the tuner, which is in Maitland, straight to the track. And that was basically his first time that he drove the car with a new engine.
Wow. The first time.
Literally the first time.
But that thing is power, eh?
It is, yeah.
Wow.
It is.
That's the other thing is the engines is the maintenance and the tires.
Yeah.
I don't want to think what you guys. Obviously, you guys are getting sponsors, but tires is quite expensive.
Yeah, the good thing about spinning, you do not need new tires. It depends if you're doing competitions, obviously. But we will get the casings that you will take off your car, that's 30%, and then that will, so there is a lot of sponsorship. The guys all have their own sponsorships and they collect the casing because it's mostly throwaways, Or if it's going to be competition, then the guys will not really go with new tires because. But other than that, tires is. You get it everywhere. And also, your sponsors, you had some amazing sponsors online. Saturday, maybe you just want to send a shout out to them because they have been amazing to you guys. And sponsors, I always say thank you to the sponsors. And while you're getting ready, I just want to say something quickly. There's 2 events that I enjoyed this year so far. To me, I enjoyed both. It's the spin event. Yeah. I give you guys a clap. Thank you.
And also the other event is Honda Day. So ek is baie oor my mense, né? Honda Day and spin. That is the events that you guys will see me more often at. Both well organized, big crowds, and I think So say jy mense man, dis mense van die Cape Flats wat het organise. Maybe you just want to quickly give a shout out.
So yeah, for the sponsors that came on board to support us with the event, at GP Tires, if it wasn't for them, DC Expert, Diamonds & Sons, LAS, Engineeros, Page Master Graphics, GSR Graphics, Mr. Ismail from Homza, and Dent Expert. This is our sponsors. And then for the promoters that worked with us closely to make this thing possible is Race for Change, Trip City Gary, you know Gary from Trip City, Defro Audio, Boys Horse, Juvie Boys Entertainers, Spine Rodai, Performance Solutions, Z-Line, Mice Performance, and Last Kilani WPMC.
Well done. And it was a well put together show, spinning show. Somebody says here, I think it's Lali from F1, I would love the finals of the 27 spinners in Cape Town. When is the 27? When is that happening?
So we do not have any of that information yet.
Okay.
The promoters that it's working in the other province, we feel that it need to be more central for everybody. I think Cape Town will be a little bit far for people from Mpumalanga and all that places. So that information hasn't been disclosed yet. So we'll wait and see.
So you're all waiting to see who's going to be the 27 spinners.
That's correct, yeah.
But why didn't you spin? It's not climb spinning now.
No. This thing is taking so a lot of time, and I so much want to see this thing become a success before, so we can move to the next chapter. So I'm giving my son and the other youngsters.
Awesome. Lastly, as we come to an end, any words you want to put out there? I mean, the thousands of young people from the Cape Flats will watch this over the next few days. Any words of encouragement to them? Remember when we were young, you're still living the dream of driving a Skyline. Yeah. I've got two dreams. As either a Ford Sierra XR6 or XR8, dis net maar hy twee, of wat ek miskien gaan doen volgende jaar is miskien 'n EK Honda. But that is my dreams. Ek is 'n ou man al, ek het al klomp nuwe karre gehad, but the dreams of driving that dream come in. Any advice to those youngsters?
Yeah. So if it comes to the youngsters, they must follow their dreams, not give up on the, do not get distracted with society, and make the best out of life. It's very easy for them to get distracted with the social ills, but remain positive, be disciplined, be respectful, and
Sonny, thank you for what you do. I know you're also part of the CPF. You are very much a community man, you and your team.
Okay.
And also to Bell, I will have Bell on the show. You will get this hot seat. I will have him on here as well. But I appreciate what you guys are doing, because remember the change on the Cape Flats is not only dependent on one person or two people.
100%.
It's all of us. Yeah. It's all of us that needs to work together. You need to come with your shows. I need to come with my shows. And that is how we indulge and how we get the young people involved. Like you mentioned earlier on, we have people dying every day. I would have loved to talk more about the city. The city, we want to talk more about what you guys haven't done. Because the reason, the city needs to realize that the Cape Flats, when they took over the city, they took over responsibility. People that was displaced, was thrown on the Cape Flats. And the city knew that when they took over the city. And things like spinning and other sports, other codes, are life-changing, because these youngsters can't wait till you have a floor plan or till you make a piece of land available. You must think for yourself. This is the Cape Flats. Guns are being given to our young kids. I just read earlier on, a 12-year-old boy was killed. There's more young people dying every day. What if we turn the Cape Flats into a safe space, as we tell people not to vote for the ANC or the EFF, but also give an alternative? Because at the end of the day, if you make spinning sort of legal in Ocean View, you make it legal in Grassy Park, in Lotus River, all those areas, our young people will have something to do. Saturday afternoons, Sunday afternoons, they can go to a field and go watch. Soccer is big, but I can promise you now already, spinning will even go beyond soccer. Now that Red Bull is giving people opportunities and many other entities overseas, this can by long become one of the best sports. And I want to say, It started on the Cape Flats. Spinning started on Pavilion. It didn't start in Soweto. It started here by us. It started with a man, Vicky Odoze, daar was 'n ou gewees wat gespin het saam met 'n goue Skyline 2.8 GTX. Nie gespin het, hy het geduis by
Indiana.
by Indiana, ja.
Yes.
Hy by University Park. He used to, what is his name? He lived opposite the shop there.
Nickname Samuel, Kaffer.
Yes. He had that car, and then there was another guy also. There was a guy in University Park. He had the XR8. He was the only guy, and these were guys that we looked up to. There was a Mr. Sussman also. Sussman, he had the maroon Ford Sierra. It's things that my brother's brother-in-law. His name is Ronnie. He had a Uno Turbo. The Uno Turbo is also very popular cars.
100%.
There's so many. We can talk about cars the whole night, but this is the thing is that the city needs to realize cars is big in our community, and you need to come to the party. So I want to greet you, otherwise I'm going to scale the whole night. Johnny, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks
thank you for being here. It was long overdue, and we'll definitely have another conversation.
Definitely.
Ladies and gentlemen, please share this live, and we'll be back next week again. Cheers.